I don't know whether it will fall within the category of Yang Dakpigi Tawa, but after we reach the class 9th and 10th standards, we do have the Dzongkha classes divided into literature, as in we study about Ajinangsa.
Oh, no, so, literature, yes, right, right.
Study about Ajinangsa.
Right.
And then we have Geselalen.
Yes.
So for class 9 and 10...
Those are good. In the literature courses, that's good. However, have you ever heard of the expression, the biological theory of karma?
No.
Exactly. Because people think, oh, karma, oh, that's religious fate or something. We have to blindly believe karma. No, that's not correct. Karma means evolution, actually. Evolutionary action. What is biology? Biology means, logi part in English comes from logos, and it means the study of something. You know, it's like it means the study of something. Bios means life. So it means the study of life. So that means it's supposed to be giving a scientific account of why there are different life forms, and why, like you Karmadendra, you have certain cheekbones, eyes, and ears, nose, you know, you speak a certain language, you have like a stomach and a kidney and all that, you know, and why do you do that? You're a human being and not a gorilla, you know, you're not a takin, you have 2 feet, not 4 feet, etc. Then there's bacteria, and there's this and that. Biology is just that study. Now, Buddha's theory is the way you are what you are is not only because of the genes of your parents, the sabin, we would say, in Tibetan or Dzongkha, sabin, you know. Not only because of that, but because of your mind in previous life, you have a third gene. You have a gene that was your spiritual experience from previous life and your ethical experience. And you were a nice person. When you were a gorilla, which you were personally a gorilla, like Darwin discovered, not just your genes, you yourself, you were a chimpanzee, you were like a monkey. But when you're a monkey, you're a nice monkey. You didn't like kill the other monkeys so badly. You let some monkey go you were tolerant, you were generous with the other monkey, you gave them a coconut, you know, etc. So then somehow you became a little less hairy, you became like a little less angry, your teeth got shorter and weaker, and then you started to talk because you hung out with other monkeys more, so you eventually got some language. Then you became a human being. So your mind, but many lifetimes you took. So your mind influenced your biology. So if there was a theory of biology that combined the gene theory about inheritance from parents with the spiritual rebirth theory of personally being involved in evolution, then that would be called karma. That's what Buddha's theory of karma is. And of course, it's not an absolute dogma, just like Darwin's thing is not an absolute dogma. No one in Darwin proved that Darwin himself in previous life wasn't a monkey. Yes. He was an Englishman with a beard, he had a lot of hair. He might have been a gorilla in previous life. No one proved that he wasn't. They just say he wasn't, because against Christianity and against religion, they want to say no soul, no future life. The religion didn't prove that, so we don't believe in that. But the point is, they didn't prove no future life either. That's not proven. Nobody proved that. Who could ever prove it, actually?
Doctor, this biology of karma, this karmic biology, is this like an established syllabus or a curriculum that has been developed, or is this something new that doctor is working on? Or are there people in the world right now working on this?
As usual, a good answer is yes and no. The yes part is, in the Nalanda University of ancient India, and in the great Datsangs in the Bhutan and in Tibet and in Mongolia in the past, this is karmic biology was studied. In other words, why someone looks like this, why someone looks like that, why someone is like intelligent and someone isn't intelligent, the differences in the life forms, why this animal is like this and this one is like that. That was their study of karma. And it's an Abhidharma study, and it was an established curriculum. And it was not simply dogmatically adopted by the learned people as, you know, it's just a fate, or it's just like God or something, or like some omnipotent force that no one can understand. Was studied as a specific empirical discipline. And the future life, for example, of people was accepted on the evidence of people remembering previous lives, of people and also of reasoning that there's no possibility of any something ever becoming nothing, a kind of law of the conservation of energy like the physicists have. You know, something can never be nothing because nothing isn't there. So you can't be nothing. You know, it's a mistaken expression to say, well, I found nothing, you say. Or it just means you didn't find something. You didn't actually find nothing. You know, if you say, oh, I found nothing, we will say that word, but then someone else will say, well, show me that nothing. You can't, because you can't find nothing, actually. So therefore, no one can ever prove that nothing exists. In fact, someone who would try to prove that nothing exists would be insane. They'd be going crazy all their life because they'd never find it. They should know that ahead of time, because it doesn't exist, right? So yes, it was established curriculum in the Buddhist universities from ancient time, and in some Hindu ones probably, and maybe some Taoist ones in China, but mostly in the Buddhist ones. And no, in the modern period, it has not been established because the modern thing was made up by Western people who were doing science as a rebellion against Christian dogma. Nowadays, it has become, like in my university in the West, where the scientists are like the Pope, they're like the high priest. And they say, we insist there's no life, future life. We insist there's no mind. It's just a brain. We insist this and that, as if they had discovered that. But the fact is they have not discovered that. There's no proof of any of those statements. They're dogmatic statements, like church dogmas. And therefore, to learn science properly, which is as a method of inquiry, method of investigation, you know, like vipassana, you know, seeking the nature of reality, you can't accept dogmas. And Buddha knew that a long time ago. Emptiness means, the teaching of Shunyata, Tombanyin, means that all things are empty of any fixed essence that could correspond to a fixed dogmatic description. So therefore, no theory can absolutely pinpoint the nature of reality except for that theory which is a negation of the power of theories and the power of concepts. But it doesn't mean they're powerless. They're still very important. But we must never be trapped into making any of them an absolute. So no one is saying that karma biology is absolutely true and materialist biology is absolutely untrue. Both of them are more or less perfect. They have good points and bad points. However, it could be that the karma theory has one superior point to the materialist theory, in that it doesn't presuppose a dogma of no mind, no former and future life. It's still looking at the question. It's still investigating it. And that's what we should be doing. They should be investigating that. All they say is there's no evidence for future life. But there's a huge evidence for future life. There are millions of people who have remembered previous lives. And they have yet to prove that those memories are false. And there are many of them. You know, like a woman who as a small child says, I'm not really a member of your family. I live in Tashigang, and I want to go back and see my Aunt Joe's, Aunt Bumla, and Aunt this, and Aunt Uncle that, and I have something very important to tell them. And then finally they take them on a bus, and they go over there, and then they run in and they dig in the ground under the family house, and they find like 10,000 ngutrim that grandmother saved over her whole lifetime, and died suddenly with a stroke and didn't tell the people that she was saving this money. And she just wanted to go tell them, and a little girl comes and says, there you have the money, and they find the money. How are these scientists who say there's no future life going to explain that? All they do is say, oh, they made it all up. Oh, they're liars, they just say. But that's just their dogma. They have no proof. And why would they lie? And how would she know the money was there? Anyway, and in a Buddhist culture, she doesn't get on television. She doesn't get a reward from the king for that. The family gets the money. She doesn't even get the money. She's in another family, right? So what I'm saying is, so the no part is that the materialist curriculum in the sciences that are in this school, in the schools here, and in the schools of the Tibetan exiles, and in the communist schools in Tibet, whatever, such as they are, very few actually, and in Mongolia, they are teaching they are teaching a mixture of good things, which is scientific investigation of how the world works, which we applaud, and that's totally in our ballpark. But they're adding to it certain dogmas, which are logta, without challenge, without investigation. And it doesn't have to be like a graduate school, you know, PhD investigation. It's just that in that time they question it a little bit. They say, well, we're not sure about this. We're looking at that. You know, this is, and there's another explanation for why people are like they are. And so people are open-minded. And this is a curriculum that will be established here in Bhutan, and eventually in Tibet, and in Mongolia, and in exile in the world, and eventually in America. Because the materialists are not actually managing the planet properly. They have created weapons that are too powerful, nuclear reactors that are in the middle of earthquake zones and that blow up and ruin the agriculture of an entire country for hundreds of years. They are creating global warming, which is wrecking the glacier here that gives you your water in the dry season. Up in Tibet, the glaciers are melting. They're melting the Arctic ice cap. That's all this industrial materialist culture operating on the engine of Lokta. And it is your responsibility of your gross national happiness here in Bhutan to make an education system that combines the best, the most reasonable aspects of the Nalanda University education system, karma system, for example, in the case of biology and philosophy, with the best of scientific modern system, and combine them, not just create the same kind of person in Bhutan that we have in America and England and Japan and everywhere, which is, maybe I go to the temple on the Saga Dawa and say, oh, I love you, Buddha, and pray to Buddha, and here have lunch with the monks. And then when I'm in my regular life, I'm just a materialist. I want more cars, I want more houses, I want more money. Because I'm gripped by Lokta. We don't want to create this split person. And Bhutan has the opportunity not to create that because it has a cultural pride in its Bhutanese culture. And its Bhutanese culture is not just wearing ago and wearing socks and going lam lam and Buddha Buddha, Sanjay Sanjay. That's not Bhutanese culture. Or I'm Kagyu or Sakya or Galok or Nyingma or whatever I am. Bhutanese culture is Yandak Betawa. Is Parlam Yanlag Ye, first branch of which is Yandak Betawa. That's a very important aspect of Bhutanese culture and must not be neglected or reserved only to the few high studying members of the monk body. It's for all the people. Yandak Betawa has to be democratized.